What's up, everybody? Shauna D Man here. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys are doing well. We are back with another little fun video. We are going to be doing like a tier list of the pretty much all 37 Marvel movies that have come out since 2008. I did something similar with the shows a couple of months back. You can go check that out. That should still be here on the channel. But we're just going to go through and do the movies. So let us go ahead and jump in. Now this tier list has all of the Marvel shows, including the ones that were on Netflix. But again, we're mainly doing the movies. So all right. Uh, so Marvel. I have been a huge Marvel fan since the beginning of 2008 with Iron Man. Uh, but after Endgame, um, I would definitely say the quality of the Marvel movies have kind of like went downhill. Now, that's not to say the Infinity Saga didn't have any, downer movies either, but the stuff that we had been getting from phases like for the multiverse saga really has were not that great. It felt more of them trying to give us characters that we didn't really care about or do a changing of the guard as it was, so to speak, in regards to certain characters like Sam Wilson becoming Captain America, um, Kate Bishop being the new Hawkeye. We also got Miss Marvel. We got a Black Widow movie. So there was a lot of stuff with phases 4 and 5 that had some good in it, but also had some pretty bad stuff. And now with us counting down the clock to Doomsday, I figured this would be a good time because we're not going to have any other Marvel movie come out before Doomsday. I think maybe Spider-Man Brand New Day might be one, but I could be wrong about that. But I think Spider-Man Brand New Day. Uh, Let me see. I think it's. Uh, so I can try to find it real quick. Let's see. All right. There we go. So, okay, yeah. So Spider-Man Brand New Day comes out before Doomsday. Okay, so looks like as of right now, Spider-Man Brand New Day is set for July 2026. Avengers Doomsday is set for December 2026. Okay, so we should be getting a trailer if it hasn't already come out at the time of me recording this. We should be getting a trailer for that relatively soon. So anyway, all right. So let's jump into it. So we got our movies here. So I think best way to start. This should be okay. These are in order, so that works out. That works out good. All right. So Iron Man, the original 2007 Iron Man. Um, the thing I love about Marvel is how they have found people to play these iconic characters. Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man is iconic. There's nobody that you can find that can replace him as Iron Man. He is Iron Man. The same thing with Chris Evans as Captain America. Um, Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, and so that's one of the things here. 2008's Iron Man. I was never really a huge Iron Man fan. And I remember watching the Iron Man animated series, but then Spider-Man the animated series had an episode or two with Iron Man in it, so that was kind of like the first introduction of me and this character. The one that started it all, I would put in A tier. I'll put Iron Man 2008 in the A tier selection. Let me see. The Incredible Hulk is next. I actually like the Incredible Hulk, and I actually like the Hulk in general in this movie. I don't really care for the Mark Ruffalo Hulk now, especially the way he's like the way he act like the actor is and things like that nowadays. I just wasn't really a huge fan of that particular version of the Hulk. Um, it's a pretty fun movie. Abomination's pretty cool. Um, I'm trying to think if what else about it. I'm trying to think of the negatives of it. I mean, you could probably say it. I mean, I like Edward Norton as Bruce Banner. I thought that was fine. Um, I think the Incredible Hulk overall is probably in that C tier of Marvel movies. Let me. There we go. Of Marvel movies. Iron Man 2. It's I'm curious on like would I say of the three Iron Man movies, would I say it's the weakest of the three? Hmm. No, I wouldn't say it's the weak. Like I like Whiplash as a villain. Um, got Justin Hammer. This was our first introduction with Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. She looked great in that. Obviously had Samuel L. Jackson in it. Story wise, I feel like I would have rather it been maybe Crimson Dynamo or Titanium Man or something like that instead of Whiplash. Even though I did like the cool design of Whiplash and what they were trying to do with it, I thought that was pretty cool. That was cool, but I think I would rather maybe have a different villain like that. I think it's not a bad movie. I would definitely put it probably in the C tier. It's about average. Now, obviously, other people may say otherwise, but I think it's about average. Thor, the original Thor. I would actually put Thor in the B tier, and the reason I will put it in the B tier is of the Thor movies at the time, man, before Love and Thunder came out. If I was looking at the three Thor films, it's not that bad. Like Chris Hemsworth, uh, because this was 2000. This was just not long after Chris Hemsworth was in the 2009 J.J. Abrams Star Trek as a not James T. Kirk, but I forgot George Kirk. He was in that movie. Natalie Portman as Jane Foster, thought that was fine. Um, it was still early in the MCU, so there were still growing pains with some of these movies and characters. Tom Hiddleston as Loki, excellent casting. Um, it gets a bad rep, but I think it's a like personally for me. Like again, I'm talking about these as personal for me. Obviously, with everybody else, it could be different, but I think it's okay. It's not bad. It could have gone in the C tier. It probably could, but I think it's maybe you know what. The more I'm thinking about it, it is a C tier. I think it's on level with Iron Man 2 and the Incredible Hulk. To me, to me. So Captain America: First Avenger. Hmm. I'll put that in. I think that's an A tier movie. It's the Captain America movies overall, for the most part, are really some of my favorites that the MCU has done. Again, this is another Chris Evans coming in as Steve Rogers. There's no detaching Chris Evans from Captain America. He is that, and so really, really. Oh man, I remember watching it in the theaters, and it was just so much fun to watch this movie. It's the best thing about what the early MCU did for me was I grew up. Um, not really a comic book reader or anything like that. The only time I saw these characters were during like Spider-Man the animated series or like Fox Kids, like show like Marvel shows like that. Um, those were kind of like the first times I saw these characters. So I was never really a huge fan of these. Like a very fun game that I love playing that we played on the gaming channel a while back was Marvel Ultimate Alliance. It helped me grow to like love some of these characters, and then the movies kind of like put that over the top. But I think Captain America: First Avenger, I would definitely put it in the A tier for me. Very very fun movie. Very much enjoy. It's a movie I could probably like watch. Like if it's on TV, I'll probably like sit and watch it. Compared to like having it on while I'm doing something else, I will definitely probably just sit and actually watch the movie. The first Avengers movie. Uh, I think that's also an A tier movie. Because there's nothing beating the first time being in the theater. Because I had friends who had saw the movie like 3 or 4 times by the time I saw it. There's nothing beating sitting in the theater with your friends, and up to this point, you finally see the Avengers assemble. It was so cool, and obviously it sets up other stuff down the line within the MCU. But this was definitely like it was so cool, so cool. Like just watching them assemble. Um, it was just so cool. And then obviously more came down the line. Iron Man 3. Um Iron Man 3. I would probably say the more I think about Iron Man 3. Like it introduced some stuff that I wish they would have did more on. Like for instance, we've got we get basically the introduction of AIM, the advanced idea mechanics. Um, I kind of wish they would have. I wish AIM as a whole had a much more prominent role in the MCU, but they don't. You can. I will probably put this in the D tier. Because the more I thought about it over the years, the more it's like I didn't like the fake out Mandarin thing because I like the Mandarin because I think the Mandarin is a cool character. I remember watching him obviously with the Iron Man animated series, but then there was also um what is it, Iron Man Armored Adventures. I think that's what it was called. I loved him and loved the kind of Mandarin design of that one. Um, so I don't. The cool thing about it was I did like all the Iron Man suits we got and stuff like that. Um, I just like the more I thought about it, the more I'm just kind of like, yeah. I just there's just like just more stuff I didn't really like about it. So Thor, you know what? I know I'm changing my mind. I'm actually gonna put this in the C tier because I don't like Thor: The Dark World. Like it's not as bad as other movies that we're gonna get to here in a second, but I just didn't really care for it. I think Malekith as the villain didn't really care about him. Um, Tom Hiddleston was good. I mean, Chris Hemsworth was good. Jane Foster, Natalie Portman's good. So I mean, there was good acting and stuff like that. But I just like the villain sucked, and I just didn't really care about him all that much. So Captain America, the Winter Soldier. There's obviously an A. Like there is there's no Winter Soldier is like my top two favorite Marvel movies. Like it's in my top five of favorite Marvel movies. Um, it's so good, it's so good. Um, Guardians of the Galaxy. Hey, you can complain about James Gunn all you want, but he did an outstanding job. Was taking a bunch of characters that nobody really cared about and turning them into characters that people cared about. Like I knew nothing of the Guardians of the Galaxy except for um I believe there was an instance in Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, where they make an appearance, and then they make another appearance in Ultimate Spider-Man, I believe, at some point. But I love the three volumes of Guardians of the Galaxy for sure. Um, Avengers Age of Ultron, put that in the B. A lot of people don't like the movie. I think the movie's good. I think this movie shows the Avengers like basically in sync. I love Ultron. Design probably could have been a little bit better, but I love Ultron as a villain. He's supposed to come back in the Vision Quest series. Um, and obviously we get at the time we get Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch as mutants, but at the time Fox still had X-Men, so they couldn't call them mutants, so they called them gifted. But then later on we learn, particularly with Scarlet Witch, that you know she's had these powers all along, and so it kind of like a course correction once Disney got Fox and were able to use the like term mutant and stuff like that now. So um, very enjoyable. Ant-Man, put in the B tier. I love Paul Rudd. he's he's so funny. He's such a funny guy. I just love, obviously one of the funniest scenes of Ant-Man is that came out of it was like Baskin Robin always knows. So that was just always funny to me. Um, I think I would have rather if I was to redo. I'm gonna do a video about this too. If I was to redo um, the MCU, I would still rather have had Hank Pym be Ant Man. Um, but that's just me. Michael B. Douglas is great. I love him. You got Evangeline Lilly. She's also great, pretty good in the movie. But yeah, I would have probably would have done the Hank Pym character because you could have like had him had like Paul Rudd or Scott Lang come off in the back half of the MCU. Like if Hank decides to retire or he's killed off or something like that, you could have had a brand new Ant Man character. So yeah. Let's see. Civil War again. This, this movie when did Civil War come out? Civil War came out almost 10 years ago, and people still talk about who was right in this movie. Was Steve right or was Iron Man right? And I'll probably another video that I do. I won't go into it here, but now probably like another video that I'll do is about that. But yeah, love it. People hate on Baron Zemo, call like saying he's not a good villain. He is one of the best villains of the MCU that they have came out with. Like he even says in the movie that like he tried like he wanted to tear the Avengers apart. People stronger than him have tried and failed. So he orchestrates this whole scenario to put the Avengers against each other, and it works. It works, and you see ramifications of that because you look at Avengers Infinity War. What if Thanos came to Earth and the Avengers were still a whole? You know, what if they weren't fractured or anything like that? So he's a solid villain. Then I loved him in Falcon and Winter Soldier. I do hope we get to see him again for sure. Then we have Doctor Strange. I love Doctor Strange. I remember watching it with my best friend in the movie theater. I felt like an acid trip with this movie. Benedict Cumberbatch again, iconic. He is Doctor Strange. Now maybe years down the line you'll probably find somebody who can also pull off the look of Doctor Strange, but Benedict Cumberbatch right now he's top tier. I don't think anybody can replace that. So he's A tier for me. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. That's also an A tier. I really, again, I love the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I think they're fun. The music has always been on par. We get Mantis in this movie. We get Ego. Um, and so it's such a fun movie. You get Baby Groot. so um so there's that. I love that. Um Spider-Man Homecoming. I think that's an A. Spider-Man Homecoming, like when we first got him in Civil War, he looked fine. Tom Holland was just coming on as Spider-Man. Thought he was great. I thought he made a great Spider-Man, Peter Parker character. And then we get Homecoming. You could probably say it's a little like people hated on this because it was like Iron Man Jr., basically and stuff like that. It wasn't really Spider-Man. He wasn't having to try to do stuff on his own. He always seemed to have help with technology and stuff like that. Um, Michael Keaton as the Vulture, great actor, great villain. Like there was a point. There was a point far. It's just in between the different movies and maybe shows of the MCU where you got really, really good villains. Like Vulture is a guy that you can sympathize with. Now, I'm not saying you should never sympathize with villains when they do bad things, but you understood where he was coming from and what he was doing. Um, so I really, really love it. I love Homecoming. Thor Ragnarok. Hold on, let me think for a second. I'm gonna actually put Thor Ragnarok in the B tier because primarily because they got Thor just right, and the comedy was just good enough to be funny. But even then, there were some parts where I was kind of like, "That's kind of a stupid joke." There's a moment where like he is about to escape Scar. I know I butchered the name, and he has like a ball, and he throws it at the window to try to break the window so he can escape, but it bounces off and hits him in the head. I was just kind of like, don't really know about that one. Lo and behold, this is where we kind of like started to get into issues with Taika Waititi and everything. But I think it's a fun movie. They fixed Thor. I thought this version of Thor was probably the Thor we needed all along. Um, but it was, I think it's be like I could go either back and forth with it. Honestly, I could go A tier or B tier with Thor Ragnarok. Uh, Black Panther. I'll put Black Panther in the B tier. It's an okay movie. At the time of me watching it, I liked it, but I just as I gotten older, watched it a couple other times. It's just kind of like Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa. Great, love it. Um, Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger, another great villain that they added into this. You had Andy Serkis as Claw, which wish we got more of in this throughout the MCU, but again, it is what it is. Um, but like just personally for me, it's not as good as the early 2008 Iron Man. Uh, and then obviously the ones in A tier. I just don't think it's that good. It's still a good movie, but I don't think it's that good of a movie to warrant being in the A tier or the S tier to me. And then after that, Avengers Infinity War. That's obviously going into S tier for me. I loved it. Oh man, like watching this for the first time was like in a crowded theater was just wild. It was massive. Um, just watching all the characters like get beat. Like the villain actually won in this scenario, and everybody's just getting dusted and everything like that. I remember watching it, and at the end when it said, you know how they usually did the end credits where it's like so and so will return, and it was one of it was just like Thanos will return, and somebody in the movie theater was like, F Thanos," and it was just wild. Like people left that theater quiet. Like it's like that's how crazy this movie was. Um, like it's just so insane of a movie. Um, Ant-Man and the Wasp, put that in B tier. Like I'm not like a huge Ant-Man fan, even though I like Paul Rudd and everything. Like like Ghost, I really like Ghost as the villain in this movie. Kind of hated what they did with Thunderbolts, but I like Ghost in this movie and everything. But it's a B tier movie. You probably could convince me to push it down to C tier, perhaps. But I think like at least right now, I would say it's like B tier for me. Let's see, Captain Marvel. I actually like Captain Marvel. Like I did not pay attention to, or I did not like, this was before I started doing YouTubing and stuff like that. So I wasn't all that involved, not involved, but I wasn't all that into like the stuff Brie Larson was saying doing the press tours and stuff like that for the movie and all that stuff. I just went in and I watched it and I thought it was a great movie. Like I thought she played a good Captain Marvel. Nowadays, like Brie Larson's just kind of like, you're like, you know. But I thought she was fine. I thought it was fine. Nick, you know, we get a little bit of backstory of Nick Fury, early Coulson. We get scrolls in this, which I thought was fun, and get the Kree in this as well. So it was pretty good. I actually enjoyed it. I think now I don't know if it's, so this is a movie that I think now I would just have on in the background while I'm doing stuff. It's not a movie where I would just sit and watch it compared to some of these other ones. Even though I have it in the A tier and I like it, like it's probably just a movie where I would just have on in the background. Endgame. I'll put that in the S tier. Again, this is just for me. Uh, I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way. Is it a perfect movie? No. There's definitely some issues with it, but it's like it's fun. I like it. Like it's a fun movie, and it's just it's that rewarding feeling that you get after spending 10 years with about 10 years of this journey of the Infinity Saga, and it caps off with this. You know, you got, and this is where we thought, you know, we were about to get into all uncharted territory, because this was basically because Chris Evans was basically done as Captain America. Robert Downey Jr. was basically done as Iron Man. Some of these actors and actresses were going to move on from the MCU, so now they're coming back. So that is something. Let's see. Spider-Man Far From Home. It's A tier. Like it's A tier. It's A tier for me. It's A tier for me because I love Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. Another good villain that they made. Um, they started. This is where they started to introduce the concept of the multiverse for the most part. Um, favorite scene in the movie is like when Happy picks up Peter and he needs to make himself a new suit, and like Happy's looking at him as if he's looking at Tony. And so I really love. I'm a huge Spider-Man person, so you could probably say maybe it's a little biased about it, but I love Spider-Man, so I have no problem. Next then we have. So this is where we got more. This was just after COVID. We had about a year off of Marvel, and then we get into the Disney Plus shows. I'm not really. Let me make sure I didn't miss one. I don't think I missed a movie. These are all the shows. Okay, so then the next movie was Black Widow. Put that in a C tier. Black Widow. If this movie should have came out during the Infinity Saga. I mean, the only reason they did it is to like do something for Scarlett Johansson. But this movie should have came out during the like maybe even after Civil War. This movie should have came out. But then we got Yelena, we got Red Guardian, we got Taskmaster. Even though people hate Taskmaster, so let's see. Then after that, we got Shang-Chi, which I'm gonna put Shang-Chi in the B tier. Shimu Liu is kind of annoying now, but I thought this movie visually was really good. Um, there are some stuff about it. The craziest thing about it, about doing this, or just looking back in general on some of these movies and shows, is at the time how much I liked it, but getting older and just going back and recapping all of it, it's just kind of like, why did I like this in the first place? Shang-Chi's probably that. I think originally I maybe would have put it in the A tier, but now it's probably like just dropping into the B tier. Again, Shimu Liu is kind of annoying now. I like the action sequences are actually pretty cool. But yeah, it's just Eternals, C tier. Just too many characters. There's just too many characters to really like invest in. Um, so it's just like I thought it was a good movie. I actually thought it was a good movie, but the issue I had, it was just too many characters going on, and it was just kind of like, Again, this is probably one that was originally in the B tier. But I think I recently just went back and it was on TV and I watched it for a little bit, and then I was like, yeah, this is gonna drop down into C tier. So, then next up we have, No Way Home. That's definitely A tier for me. The writing and the plot does not make sense in a lot of cases. But this is a pure nostalgic fan service movie, and I am completely okay with that. I am completely okay with that, and I think a lot of people probably were okay with that as well. Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield coming in as Spider-Man. You get Norman. You get oh you get Alfred Molina back as Doc Ock. You get William Dafoe back as Green Goblin. And William Dafoe steals the show of the not show. He steals the spotlight in this movie, and so it's just it's a fan service movie, which I'm completely fine with. I have no issues with. After that, Multiverse of Madness.
You ever had that dream where you're falling as if
I'm gonna put that in the B tier. Now a lot of people would not. I'm gonna put it. It's a Marvel movie that doesn't feel like a Marvel movie. I think if they would have kept to the original plan of what they were gonna do, introducing Nightmare and that kind of stuff, I think it would have been really, really good. The stuff that is directly Sam Raimi
to talk about
is really good. When Doctor Strange is doing the wizard battle with the other Doctor Strange is really, really good. You got the Illuminati.
What do you know about the multiverse?
Back as Professor X. You get John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic. And so, yeah, making Wanda the villain was just kind of. I don't know if that's a Sam Raimi thing or that was just whatever. Because originally when Multiverse of Madness was talked about, it was supposed to be more like a horror type of movie, and I was very excited for that. But then we got what we got. Thor: Love and Thunder. That's a D. Hated this movie. Waste of Christian Bale. It was just too much humor. This is where Taika Waititi was just kind of like, where I was like, I need you to stop doing Thor movies. Way too comedic. It's just like ridiculous. Let me see what else we got. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, C tier. The problem I have with this movie is they were banking on the emotional portion of the fan base to come and watch this movie because this was just not long after Chadwick Boseman had passed away, and they were kind of counting on that to like that emotional aspect to come in because people love Chadwick Boseman, and so people were kind of hoping like, oh, you know what, this is a tribute for him, but I just did not like it all that much. Namor is fine. I just did not like it as much. Um, Ant-Man Quantumania, put that in a D tier. Again, like you brought back Darren Yellow Jacket from Ant-Man 1. Now he's in this as MODOK. I hated it. You had Kang, who was supposed to now whether or not this was supposed to be like the final version of Kang that we are gonna get in an Avengers movie. It was just kind of like, you know. Then Jonathan Majors has his whole situation. So after that, let's see what else we got. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I actually would probably put that in A tier. Or I'm sorry, S tier. I love Volume 3. It's more of a Rocket story than it is a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, which I'm okay with because I do love Rocket and everything, so I have no problems with that. Um, the Marvels, put that in the D tier. The only did the actress who plays Miss Marvel is the only bright spot in this movie. She's the only bright spot in this movie. It did not do well either. Like it was wild. Um, Deadpool and Wolverine, A tier. Again, this is like No Way Home, more of a fan service type of more of a fan service type of movie than an actual movie because again the plot and stuff like that. But this was when the whole merger was going on and Deadpool got brought into the MCU, so now an MCU movie. But you got Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine, and it was so cool because people were wondering what Deadpool 3 was going to be about because people love the first two Deadpool movies, but people wonder what Deadpool 3 was going to be about. And I remember watching that video of Ryan Reynolds put out, and he's like, I talked about trying to figure out what to do for Deadpool 3 and all that stuff, and then in the background, Hugh Jackman walks by. He's like, "Hey, you want to play Wolverine one more time?" He's like, "Yeah, why not?" I just love that. That was like my favorite thing right there. So I loved it. I loved Deadpool and Wolverine. You could probably say it's more of a fan service movie as well, but I don't know. Uh, Captain America: Brave New World, C tier. This I don't know why we had Hulk villains in a Captain America movie. It was just really stupid. And then Thunderbolts. I would actually. This is where Thunderbolts is where Marvel
My great honor to
somewhat
introduce to
started to
you
get their footing
the Sentry.
again. Somewhat. It was an okay Marvel movie compared to some of the ones we got in the earlier multiverse saga, or including the shows as well. It was a better Marvel. It didn't make that much money, but it was a much better Marvel movie as a whole. And then last, Fantastic Four. I'm put Fantastic Four in the C slot or C tier. I just did not like Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards. I think everybody else is probably fine in the movie. Them doing the female Silver Surfer, Galactus was awesome. Love that. Um, but again, this is kind of the reality. In reality, these two movies are the same. They're okay Marvel movies. They're not the best Marvel movies. They're just okay movies. And so, yeah, and I think that's it. I think it's just the shows here. Yeah, okay, all right, so that's basically it. So this is my tier list. Do I think something would I change anything around? Probably, but I think the Guardians of the Galaxy ones are probably the ones where I'm kind of like, I love all three of them, so I probably could have put them all like in the A tier because of that. I just really like Rocket's story and everything in Guardians 3. Thor Ragnarok is fine where it's at. I think most of these are fine where they're at, but you guys can let me know what y'all think. But guys, that is relatively going to be it. Thank you guys for hanging out, watching. Down in the comment, tell me what you guys think. What movies, where would you move some movies in this tier list? Or tell me what your tier list would be. Very much like to hear that as well. But guys, thank you for hanging thank you for hanging out. Thank you for watching. If you're new to the channel, be sure you hit that like and subscribe. You can also find my gaming channel down in the description, plus links to my Rumble, Twitch, and Kick. But guys, thank you for hanging out. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Y'all have a good one.